In case you didn't know it yet, the goal of hypnotic language is always the same. It is to make someone's mind, either yours or somebody else's, move in very unconventional ways. However, the main mistake I see in many hypnotists or coaches of all sorts is that they try to focus too much on the language and not enough on the person they are communicating with. Because you see, the language might appear like the same thing because the phrase you are going to hear in this video is static. But depending on who is the person you interact with, it is not going to be said in the same way or not at the same time, and probably with some differences in the way you articulate your ideas. In this video, you will learn the 5 main types of people, I would say, or subjects or clients you may encounter when you want to use a hypnotic language to make someone's mind change, and 15 different types of phrases you can use with those types of clients. Ultimately, you will discover that the main idea surrounding all those tactics, all those hypnotic phrases, is to make someone accept there is something they might don't know yet, and something that will make their problem evaporate in the blink of an eye. So first of all, the 5 main types of people you are going to deal with, the most likely you will deal with. The first one is the stubborn, irritating one. I say irritating because if you are a coach yourself, you have faced that at least one time. The person who basically knows everything and nothing of what you say is valuable enough. They have tried everything. Some people might be like that, and you might be confused with those people about how specifically am I supposed to use language so that their mind opens up, because they seem close to everything. For now, I will stay on one simple advice. The main thing with that type of people is to really make them talk about the experience that shaped their opinion on the matter at hand. If the topic of the conversation is some bad relationships they have around them, and they are always right, it's always everybody else's fault, never theirs, yeah, just clarify what made them go to that conclusion. What type of experience shaped their opinion and values and a negative perception of the environment around them. From there, once you have the core main referent experience, then you can reframe that one. But if you try to argue with them on the conscious level, it's a no-go, it's never gonna end. The second type is the lost, confused person. Might be somebody who can be very insecure, someone who may not be used to speak out loud, or who may not be used to be given the right to express ideas in a free way. And those ones will maybe need some more time, some more rapport, some more reassurance before they can open up. And the main thing I like to do with that type of people is to help them put words on what they feel, what they want, and what they understand from the world around them. People who have been shut down for too long, they may not even know how to call their feelings, how to call what's happening around them, how to say if they like the situation they are part of or if they don't like it. They usually have trouble to reconnect words, language to the feelings inside them. So those ones better articulate how specific can you go in describing what's happening to you, and give them a menu. Do you feel more enlightened? Do you feel more joy? Do you feel more pain? Do you feel more ashamed? Just give them a menu of words and help them to figure out what do they feel, what do they want to experience out of the session with you, for example. The third one is the fearful, never taking any action. That might be linked with the second one, but I would put that one in an entirely different category. It is the person who basically knows what they should do. They know what they should act upon. They know why they have a problem. They know where the problem comes from. But even with all of that knowledge, just nothing is never changing, because they never take action on anything. Or they may take action like on one simple irrelevant thing, and then they just stop. This one, I call it the fearful, because this behavior comes from fear, from a very deep fear of the unknown, fear of being judged, a fear of becoming somebody that I don't think I am, for example. And those ones, I like to redefine the main thing they are scared of. First of all, elaborating, okay, what is it really that you're so scared of? Because if nothing was scary to you in that situation, you would just take action right now. So what is the main thing you are so scared of? And helping them redefining by using their own terms and not mine. Same thing, I may give a menu of what I think could be relevant for them, but I will take extreme care of letting them choose what word they want to put on that. So for example, if they are afraid of authoritative people, okay, which other term could you have to describe authoritative people? They might be people who are scared too, because when somebody is trying to be super authoritative, super controlling everything, maybe that person is just deadly scary inside, and that might be why they are acting so superior. That might be one redefine. Maybe this one will work, maybe not. Just helping the person redefine on their own terms. How could you call that thing you're scared of by another name that won't be that scary anymore? And from there, shaping, okay, since it is not that scary anymore, then which pathway could you find to go up to here? The fourth type is the always failing, the all-time failure, if I could call it that way. The person who is always failing, no matter how hard they try. It seems like there is always a negative pattern running in their life. It might be the person always ending up in a toxic romantic relationship, and no matter who they meet, they will always find a way to find the next toxic partner. That's what I call the always failure. Like whatever the person tries, it is always the same result. Those ones, I would say we need to clarify the identity they present themselves with, or which story do they give value to that justifies their identity. Everybody's identity is just a mix of the feelings, certain feelings, memories, and the stories you tell yourself about who you are, and that may evolve through time. A person who is always in a cycle of failing, they try something else, it fails again. They try a new coach, a mentor, it fails again. Those ones, I would say their identity is stuck on a certain kind of feelings or representations about who they are that is just causing that endless loop of misery. So those ones I like to clarify. How would you describe yourself in general? Not for your whole life, but just at the moment you are at right now. You are maybe 25, 35, 45, whatever. At this point in your life, how would you describe yourself? And from there, noticing where is the block? Where is the one thing that they can't seem to go past? Because once we change their sense of identity, then we can elaborate which new pathway can you take that you haven't really uncovered so far, or maybe you tried it but in the wrong way. And the last one, which might be more common if you work with athletes, I would say, or CEOs, like top-level company officers. The person who, the ultra-obsessive person, basically, who can never stop, like nothing is never enough, I gotta work hard, I'm a tough, hard worker, like the person who will never stop. And down the road, they lose many things because the kind of high-level CEO who works 24/7 non-stop, he very often loses family, friends, romantic partners, like they may lose a lot of things in their life, but it is still not enough. They have to do more, they have to provide more. Those ones, we will get back on those during the language patterns, but I like to point out softly, slightly, not pushing their buttons, but slightly asking, what is the worst thing that could happen if you were to actually slow down now? Or start slowing down now? If you were to slow down, start slowing down and work less or provide less effort, then what would be the worst case scenario? Because same thing, people who run on adrenaline non-stop, it is usually starting from fear. They are scared of one thing that they have trouble articulating or being honest about, and since there is this deep fear, they keep running and running and running and running because what if that happens? But as long as we don't clearly know what is it that might happen, what is the one thing you're so scared of? Because I'm pretty sure in most cases, if it were to happen, there would be solutions nonetheless. That you may not know now, but there would be solutions anyway. So I like to clarify with them, what is it that you are so scared of that it prevents you from stopping or slowing down right now? And clarifying from there, okay, how could we start letting go of that fear to some extent? Now, for the 15 phrases that you will learn here, the first one is the hidden reason people succeed at this is, And then you can talk about any random strategy, tool, method you know about the topic of conversation at hand. If the problem is about a lack of performance at work, then you may say, actually the hidden reason high effective people succeed at this is blah blah blah, they sleep more easily. Whatever you say. The point is to say a hidden reason, because a hidden reason is a presupposition that there is something they don't know yet. If you use that too early in the conversation without rapport, they might say, oh, not gonna work on me. But if you say that later in the conversation, it might go way faster because they will have probably unveiled enough of their life story to figure out that they are lost to some extent, and you may pinpoint that one at this moment. You know what? The hidden reason people succeed at this thing you have had trouble succeeding at is actually that blah 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 blank. And from there you can open their mind to something they thought was irrelevant but actually might be really relevant for them. Number 2, what usually stops people like you from succeeding is, so it is coming back to the same idea, a hidden reason, something hidden inside yourself has been preventing you so far from succeeding. You just want to open their mind to something else, something they did not try yet, or something they tried but in the wrong way. Once you can open their mind to the possibility there is one thing they don't know, then many strategies will become effective just because they have opened their mind. If you try to give a gift to somebody who doesn't have their hand like this, the gift might fall on the ground. But when you give a gift to somebody who was putting their hands like this, then they will receive the gift. Same idea here. You want to shape their mind so that they are ready to receive something. So saying what usually stops people like you from succeeding is, we'll pinpoint that they have probably done something wrong, but it is using some curiosity, some open loop, because you don't say right away what this is. So once their mind is opened to something, oh, something I might not know or something I might have missed, then it will be easier to present them whatever information you want to stick in their unconscious mind so that it grows and give them more resources down the road. Number 3, according to which law did you make that rule? So it is coming back to the meta model, the initial meta model. It was to answer judgments. When somebody is judging himself or judging a situation, saying this is bad, this is wrong, and this is right, so I should do this. Yeah, sure. And the initial phrase was according to whom? Basically, who made that rule? If you say this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing, sure, I can agree with you, but just to clarify for me, who made that rule? Who? Was it God? Or was it a God? Who made that rule? And this phrase is a version of this pattern. According to which law did you make that rule? So according to whom did you make that rule? I can't be artistic. I can't become successful. According to whom? Who said that? Yourself? Why? How? How did you make that rule? If it was only yourself, then what prevents you from making a new rule from there? Number 4, if this was not true, then what would you naturally want to do? So whenever the person has started to enumerate the reasons why they can't, why they are not succeeding at this, why they can't do that, why they are so depressed, whenever they mention the reasons, at least the reasons they think are the ones responsible for their problem, then you might just ask, what if it was not true? Oh, I know it is true. I know you have been suffering. Of course, I agree with you. You have been really suffering. It is really bad what happened to you. Now, just out of curiosity, if this was just not true, if those things just didn't have any impact on you, then what would you naturally want to do from now? What is it that you would naturally do if all those things were not having any more impact on you, if all those things were just forgotten? Yeah, like it is a blank page. You can start again from a blank page, then what would you naturally want to do? Number 5, if you did not need to apologize, how would you act about this today? So this one is specifically for the person very shy, very insecure, the person who is always feeling like they should stay behind because they don't have enough self-esteem to be on top or to be in front of people or whatever. People like that often tend to over-apologize. They apologize for being here, they apologize for being who they are, they apologize for their wishes, for what they want, for what they didn't do right, whereas nobody judged them maybe. But some people like that will just keep apologizing in their head for everything. You might challenge them with, if you did not need to apologize, because no one was at fault anyway, not even you. No one is at fault and no one can judge you anyway. Then, how would you act about this? This thing the person might not be confident enough, or they don't think they are confident enough to do this, do that one thing they hope they could gather the courage someday to do, and they don't do it. If you did not need to apologize for your lack of talent, your lack of resources, your lack of time, your lack of charisma, whatever it is that you think you don't have enough of, if you did not need to apologize, or if you didn't need to justify that you are not good enough, or that somebody else is better, or that you failed at this, or that you didn't get the right grade or certification or whatever, if you did not need to apologize, then what would you do? Basically, if you were free to do whatever you want. That is another way of saying that. But this one is different because you put them linguistically in a context where maybe very tough, bad connotations they grew up with. Maybe they grew up with the assumption that failing at this one thing makes them a bad person. And so if all of that was just wrong, false, and had never existed, then what would you naturally want to do? What would you be compelled to do that you prevent yourself from doing right now? Number 6, what is the one thing you're clearly not seeing right now? This is a slight mind-bending confusion phrase. What is the one thing you're clearly not seeing? Clearly is a term linked with submodalities, here visual submodalities. So using the word clearly with not seeing is kind of a confusing statement on purpose. The goal is to confuse, just to make the person look at something inside themselves, metaphorically, look at something inside themselves they have maybe not looked at yet, or that they looked at this someday and then they were like, oh yeah, I don't want to see that. And the idea behind that, what is the one thing you're clearly not seeing right now? It is to help them reconnect with maybe something they have forgotten about themselves, maybe it's something they don't give themselves credit for, whereas they could have a lot of credit for having accomplished this and that. What is it that is inside them, like a resource basically, a positive resource that is inside them, but that they are not using or not using as often as they could? Number 7, if you could say F you to that limitation, person, experience, or situation. So people, again, who are like too shy, who would never dare to say anything outrageous, they always like stay a nicely little puppet who will always be nice and say yes to everything. That person, you may just challenge them a little bit with some strong language, like if you could say F you to that thing you can't stand anymore, or you cannot leave your job. If you had the right to say F you to your job, to the people you work with, then what would happen? If it was okay, if somebody had been giving you the right and there will be no consequences, you have the right, you can do it, then what happens next? It might also help people to reconnect with some repressed anger. You know, in our societies, we are always conditioned to not listen to anger because it is bad, because we should maintain a group and we should be nice with and polite with everyone around. Yes, to some extent, yes, but if the anger is not processed on the moment, it has to be processed at some point anyway. Otherwise, it will escalate and end up exploding later with probably another person or situation that has nothing to do with the reason, the source of your anger, and that will therefore create more bad consequences. The idea behind using some strong language like that, putting them in a safe context mentally where they can say whatever they want, they are free to express anything they want during the session, then what would come out? Helping them let out all the things they have buried and they have trouble to acknowledge, helping them get that out, and from there noticing what pops up. What is it that they naturally feel driven to say when they realize they have the right to say anything they want? It might help people reconnect with some old desires, wishes that they have never really acknowledged inside themselves, and that therefore they may have stayed blocked in a negative life situation for too long because they haven't been listening enough to what was knocking at the door inside their own head. Number 8, this has been limiting you in the past. Now, if nothing else could stop you anymore, what would you decide next? This one is tricky in terms of the time frames. It is really leading the mind from past to present and then to future by the use of adverbs. So this has been, the past tense, has been. You are putting the limitation they may have, like I am just a low self-esteem person. Okay, fine. This low self-esteem has been limiting you in the past, so you are already putting a representation in their mind of them having being done with the problem. This low self-esteem, for example, has been limiting you in the past. Now, the word now is a command. It is appealing to the present time. It is helping the mind of somebody who might be trapped into endless thinking back in the present. Now, if we speak about this, you watching this video right now, if nothing else could stop you anymore is also playing with the representation of time in their head, what would you decide next? And next is geared at the future. So has been, the past, the thing that limits you, that was limiting you, so it is over. Now, putting back their mind in the present, what would you decide next? Future. What will happen? So it is helping their mind to get rid of something that has been bothering them, that has been limiting them, and helping them uncover if the whole field was free for new experiences, then what would you be compelled to do right now? Number 9, who has been in charge of setting that state? So when somebody feels like stuck in a negative state, so yeah, I am in a bad mood, I am low self-esteem, I am low confidence, I don't have enough strength, I just feel unmotivated, for example. Who has been in charge of setting that state? And if they say, well, it's just me, then how? How did you decide to get yourself unmotivated? Most cases people will say, oh, it's because of this, because of that, because of the economy, because of the news, because of the... always something else. And in that case, you clarify, okay, oh, so the news have been putting you in a low mood, in a bad mood. Can you describe that? What specifically did you hear in the news that put you in a bad mood? And why that thing you heard put you in such a bad mood? Because I can probably hear the same thing and not be in a bad mood. So how did you put yourself in such a negative state by just hearing that one line from that one journalist on this TV news? Like, how is that possible? You just clarify, help them uncover that the state they are into is actually just malleable and that it can always change. Even if they think it is the end of the world because they are in a bad, depressed mood, actually, there might be many new ways they could open their mind to a new, more positive state or an old state that they used to live when they were younger. You can help them pull that back into the present moment, using the word as now, and you can just help them associate again with some more positive resource. So asking questions like who has been in charge of setting that state, you just help them realize that the state they are into does not have to stay. It can change at the minute you talk about it, very easily. Number 10, after you have been choosing the right path for you, and that may not be something clear yet, but let's say you have found the right path for your life, your career, your whatever. After you have been choosing the right path for you, what will be the next positive change you will experience? Or should I say the very next positive change? So we are playing with future pacing right here. Somebody who might be at the crossroads, might be at the moment of getting into a new phase of life, or like they have some clearer perspective of what they want to do, but it is still lacking some details about how will I do this, how could I do that. You can help them uncover. Let's say it is happening right now. So you want to change your job, for example, fine. Let's say it is happening right now. What is the very next positive change or shift that is happening in your life or in yourself because of that. And whatever they will answer right here will be something more powerful and more important to connect with whenever they want to get themselves more motivated, more enthusiastic about life. It will be something that matters more to them than the money, the fame, the whatever, something more personal. And whenever you want to motivate somebody, you have to attach what they do and what they want to accomplish to personal reasons. Not reasons that society says are good, or that you just want to do that because somebody else you saw on a seminar did that and that person appeared great. Yeah, but what about you? What about personal reasons? So asking things like, after you have been choosing the right path, or after you have been receiving the best result possible, what will be the very next positive change you will experience? Then you help their mind reconnecting with something personal about them that they really care about. Number 11, if there was no time left to accomplish this, how would you do it? Some people just presuppose they have unlimited time, and to some extent, for somebody who is always obsessive, always trying to reach the next level, it is a good thing, I think, to help them slow down and realize you do have time. But for somebody who may just be passive in their life, somebody who is always waiting, never taking action on anything, always waiting and waiting for the next opportunity, waiting for the next person to come and help them, somebody who is always in passive mode, you can just challenge them a little bit with, if there was no time left. So we have received the news from aliens, from Mars, or from some other solar system, and we just realized that in 2 months from now the human race is done, it is the end, whatever, whatever funny scenario. Just imagine there is no time left, basically, okay? Like whatever you think you can do tomorrow, you can do 1 year from now. If 1 year from now everyone was going to be dead anyway, you and everyone else, and you only have 1 year left to accomplish this one thing you have been dreaming of doing for so long, then how would you do that right now? Number 12, the mysterious way to heal this type of pain is... Mysterious is an adjective presupposing there is something they don't know yet. Once again, it is about opening their mind with some open loop here, opening their mind to the possibility they did not try everything, and even if they think they have tried everything, there might be something else they could do again in a different way that could solve their problem. So the mysterious way is always a good word to insert in your phrase when the person is kind of going nowhere, like you're kind of looping around in circles, and whatever you propose, the person seems like meh, like not really entertained or motivated about, stimulated about what you talk about. In that case, inserting in your phrase some word like, you know what, the mysterious way to heal this type of pain, to solve this type of problem that I have heard some old shaman talking about, is actually to, and then whatever you say, just to meditate or in whatever simple way. But the fact of presenting an idea just after you have been mentioning it was something mysterious will help the person to at least pay more attention. And once again, in any kind of hypnotic change, when the person pays more attention and is more focused, you have a much better area to work with their unconscious mind than if they are just mumbling thoughts in their mind as you speak and they're not really participating in the conversation. Once you can catch their mind and pull them so that they really listen carefully to what you say, and using words like this mysterious way that I heard about one time, it will drastically help to make their mind connect to what you talk about. Number 13, if what was forbidden was accepted, what would you do that you haven't allowed yourself to do? So this is an idea I have presented already in this video. Whenever people think there are limits, or that like they are attributing the lack of results in their life, or the lack of passion, enthusiasm, motivation in their life to some outside cause, to some external causes, you can just say, you know what, if what is forbidden, so people should not behave that way, people should not do this, or like it is impossible to accomplish this because no one has done it. Yeah, all those things that are not possible, forbidden, unacceptable, if all of that was right now accepted, like you have received a message from a superior being up there, and that superior being told you, okay, validated, you have a stamp, it is valid, you can do that, it's okay, everything is permitted, possible. Then what would you do that you haven't allowed yourself to do because it was either impossible in your lingo, or because it was not right, because nice people shouldn't behave that way, or because I gotta be serious, I gotta be like people sometimes who get like 23, 24 years old, who start thinking, oh, now I am an adult, I should behave seriously. Well, why? Some of the happiest people I have seen in the world are like 50, 60 years old, and they just don't care. They're like artists more specifically, but like they just don't care. So this whole seriousness, or I gotta do this seriously, I gotta work hard. Well, if all of those rules did not exist anymore, if all of the things you should not do were now allowed, what is the number one? Tell me, what is the number one thing you would accept, you would tolerate to do? You would tolerate the possibility of starting the process of thinking about actually doing that. What would be that one thing that you, in the back of your mind, you just dream of doing that one, and so far it was like, oh no, I should not. If it was accepted, if it was possible, what would be that one first thing you would do right now? Number 14, what is the first step to accomplish this? This one is coming more like at the end of a session, once the person has already had some breakthrough. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I can just do this and it's going to be fine. Once they have received some positive idea, breakthrough, or some intuition about their life, then okay, you want to link that to smaller chunks, smaller details that are going to be actionable right now, or like very soon. So what is the first step to accomplish this? It is very important because many people are like dreamers. They like to dream about good things, but they never really put into use, they never really start the initial process of putting into place those things they dream about. Or they might not take action until they have all the steps in their mind completely clear, and it's never going to happen because you never really get the right intuition for what's coming next until you have crossed the first step. But so many people who have great ideas, impressive desires, never actually cross the very first step, and so they stay stuck forever. So I like to use that one at the end of the session. What is the first step to accomplish this? And the funny thing is, whenever I ask that question, I noticed people just give me whatever answer, and when I see them again, either into another session or just bump into them, I realized they have actually not done at all the thing they talked about, the thing they said was the first step, but they did something else that ended up being a first step. So whatever they say as an answer, as a reply, even if it is not the one thing that will actually solve the problem, just the fact of making them pulling an answer from their mouth, pulling the answer of, okay, this is something I could actually do. It is when there is some resistance, this is where the resistance is going to pop up, to show off. Because when people go from the dreamy world to action physical world, so many people just procrastinate, over-intellectualize, whatever. So making them associate to an image of themselves actually doing the first thing they could do, it is going to unveil a lot of blockages and sometimes make all the limiting beliefs fall on the ground. Because it is where their mind start activating things, and they may again do something at the end that has nothing to do with what they talked about at this moment, but it is all about making their mind into the right proactive loop of I'm going to do this, and then whatever they will do, we don't care. The point is do something actually. Last one, number 15, which is kind of linked to the previous one. What's missing for you to be ready to do it now? So if there was only one thing that was missing for you to start putting into place this one goal. For example, somebody who might always delay, like somebody who might think the thing they want is always far away in the future, so far away. Yeah, I see that as something distant in the future. Yeah, to some extent, yes, but also sometimes you gotta pull back your mind on what if I was able to get that right now? What if I was capable of accomplishing this goal right now? And so asking questions like, what's missing for you? What's missing for you to be ready to accomplish this right now? You may uncover some deeper blockages, like a limiting belief, oh, I can't because, or it's impossible because people like me never succeed, or it's I cannot because that person told me I would fail. Just evaluate the reasons why they presuppose that thing they want is out of reach. And from there again, helping them resolve those issues with whatever hypnotic procedure you know of. You may make them visualize, get into a new role model, a new time machine, a new phase of their life, a metaphoric story, whatever you do. But the point is to clarify what are we acting upon. And those phrases in many cases we may not have a massive impact on the moment during the session, but they will have a massive impact later because the mind of the person will have been moving into very unconventional ways, as was the goal, as I said in the beginning of this video. Now, if you want to learn more about that, you have a document in the description called the 7 Steps to Master Sleight of Mouth. It will drastically help you to realize how you can improve your language abilities whenever you communicate with somebody, and how you can present ideas and reframe beliefs with more flexibility whenever you communicate.